So we've gone through all of the other characteristics of the different chordates. Now we're going to really focus on the last one, which is mammalia. So mammals. Mammals all have a few things in common. They've all got milk glands, they have hair, specialized teeth, and an enlarged skull. Those are sort of the, as we're going through, we've talked about all the characteristics of chordates, then we talked about all the characteristics of vertebrates, and now we're specifically in the characteristics of mammals. Mammals have what are known as mammary glands. These secrete milk. Milk is a fluid that's very rich in fats, sugars, proteins, and minerals. It's got basically everything you need to survive. So females are going to produce milk in order to nourish offspring as they begin to develop. Eventually, the offspring are weaned off of the milk and begin to get food from the environment. All mammals have hair in one form or another. Hair could be used for a lot of different things. Hair can be used for insulation, as in with polar bears. Basically, you trap air in the different hairs, and air is a very strong insulator. It can be used for defense, as you can see with the porcupine. It can even be used for sensation. You use hairs to feel things. I don't know if you guys have ever felt something like brush up against like a leg hair. But it sort of like triggers you. It's like, or an arm hair. You can feel these small movements on your body because you've got hairs on them. Whales take it to, I'm pointing as if it's on the screen. Whales take it to the extreme. They've got, think of cats, right? They've got whiskers. Those whiskers are attached to very sensitive receptors on their face. So as they're navigating the environment, their whiskers provide a lot of information. So all mammals have hair. They all have specialized teeth, differentiated teeth. If you were to look at a lizard's teeth, they're all sort of one type, pointy. But mammals, we've got teeth that are good for grinding things, teeth that are good for slicing things, teeth that are good for ripping things. All of your teeth in your mouth have a different purpose, not all of them have a different purpose, but there are different purposes to the different teeth in your mouth. You'll notice when you're chewing, you move material from one part of your mouth to another simply because of that type of tooth. For instance, if you were to try to crush something, if you were to try to break something that's really hard, where do you bite on it? Very back of your mouth, right? But if you're taking a slice of something, you're taking a slice out of apple, you bite down right up front. If you're eating a steak, and if you're eating a chicken leg, you put the chicken leg in your mouth and you pull. Unless you're one of those people that use a knife and fork to eat chicken legs, which apparently I found is what you're supposed to do at work functions. That was a surprise to me. There I am. Yeah, well, look. Yeah, there's a knife and a fork, but it's a chicken leg. What are you going to do? You just knife and fork it? That's ridiculous. So I definitely, I did that. Big thing of wine, not big thing of wine, thing of wine. I did put the napkin on my lap, and then I picked up the chicken leg and took a bite. You use your ripping teeth for this. You use your canines that hold it tight while you're ripping it away. We all have an enlarged skull. We've got big brains, we got to have a big skull. What you're seeing here is a skull that results from head wrapping. There are certain cultural norms in which a child's head is wrapped tightly, often and to give you a flattened forehead. So they'll wrap a child's head with a board tight to it in order to give it the right shape. It's still done. Going into all the separate little groups of mammals, we've got rodentia, rats, squirrels, beavers, porcupines. These rodents all have constantly elongating teeth. For their entire lives, their teeth will keep growing. They need to constantly gnaw in order to keep their teeth shorter. If they don't have anything to gnaw on, their teeth will literally either grow down and out, or they will grow through their skull. They get severe mouth deformities if they don't have anything to chew on. You see this with like pets if you only give them like powdered food or wet food. Fun story, if you do have to give a rat food like that, wet food or powdered food, you can still take care of their teeth by literally taking a pair of pliers and clipping their teeth, just like you would clip your nails. The more you know. Chiroptera, the bats. Bats are mammals that uniquely have the ability to fly. Their wings are an example of convergent evolution with birds. They are not the same structures, but they have the same ability. They also navigate by sonar, so they've got these really large ears in order to take in as much sound as they possibly can. So they're making sounds, listening to it bounce back, and depending on when they hear that return, they understand how far away an object is. But not only how far away it is, we think that they can actually map the relative size and the they can identify basically species they're going after by it. We've used, not we, I didn't. I was working parallel to a lab that was a bat lab that was being run out of Virginia Tech. This was a bat lab that was in Southern Virginia, and what they were doing was figuring out how bats detect their environment in order to improve the way we interpret radar signature. So that instead of it just being a blip, it's going to be based on the way the blip returns, figuring out exactly what type of terrain you're looking at from that blip. Okay, this is a fun one. Euolyptophyla, shrews, moles, and hedgehogs. Look, I don't got anything on hedgehogs. Basically, the only thing I know about hedgehogs is Sonic. So that's all I get, and they're cute. I don't have anything special about them. Moles, they dig in my yard. I had I was chasing this mole, trying to get rid of this mole who was digging. I'm not sure if you guys have hills all through your yard, do you? I have hills all through my yard, just upturned pieces of dirt, because moles are digging underground looking for grubs. I was chasing this mole for probably 2 months because my wife says I'm not allowed to use poison. And obviously my idea of using peppers to do it wouldn't work for a mole. So I'm trying to chase this mole. It was a torrential rainstorm. Like, you know those rainstorms where you can't see more than 5 feet? You end up getting all this flooding. So I look out the door, and this mole jumps, pops out of its burrow, and because its burrow is being flooded out, it can't survive. And I kid you not, my wife's like, quick, go put something out there so it can climb on it. So I had to go out there and put a piece of wood down so the stupid mole that I've been trying to get rid of for 4 months can survive the torrential rain. It was during that same rainstorm I had to save a turtle, because it was a stupid turtle. I lived on a hill, and at the bottom of the hill, there was a drain that runs off into the creek. This turtle walked off the road, out of my yard into the road, landed on his back and goes spinning down the road. So my wife makes me, because I have to, go save the turtle by not even having time to put on my shoes, run out the door, soaking wet rain, grab the turtle, bring it back, put it on the ground, go back inside. What'd the turtle do immediately after? Jumped right back into the road. Stupid turtle. So what I have to do, change it again, put it further away from the road. Basically what turtles do and why they go for that is they're listening for streams. And it sounded like a stream to the turtle. So I had to take the turtle in the pouring rain to the other side of the house where the stream actually was. Super fun. Primates. You're a primate. Monkeys, apes, and humans. Basically, primates all have the ability to mess with other species to see how they work. Monkeys are smart, and they will totally try and figure you out. If you're dealing with a monkey, they will prey on you. Not like to attack and eat you, but just to mess with you. Carnivora, cats, dogs, bears, and seals. Flesh-eating mammals, basically, we make stuffed animals out of them. But they will mess you up. Don't ever go up to a leopard and be like, pss, pss, pss. It's a bad idea. I think the biggest carnivore, we've got bears around here, obviously. You guys have seen bears locally, haven't you? Yeah, they live around here. The other big thing we have are coyotes. We don't have many seals. Artiodactyla, pigs, camels, sheep, and cattle. They have horns and an even number of toes on their feet.
Why is that like a relevant? Yeah.
Look, we're taxonomists, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we make stuff up.
Okay.
So yeah. But basically it's relevant because genetically they're all structurally similar, and instead of saying at this site, and this site they're the same, we can say they got even numbers of toes.
They have like cloven
Hooves, yeah.
Okay.
The Diprontia are the marsupials. Marsupials are a weird group of mammals that basically died out all over the world, except the possum in North America and in Australia. Australia, they're a dominant form of mammal. They have a pouch. No matter what you've seen on cartoons, don't climb in the pouch. They will mess you up. See, these kangaroos are basically all muscle, and when they kick, they will eviscerate you. Do you guys know what eviscerate means? Basically, they will disembowel you. When they hit, their nails are sharp enough that they will slice you, and your intestines will fall out. Also, you'll fall down and then die. The joey will live in the pouch for a while after birth. Marsupial babies are born premature every time. And then they continue to develop in the pouch. So they crawl from they're born, and then they crawl immediately into the pouch where they're going to continue to develop over time. Lagomorphs, rabbits. They have very, very powerful hind legs. This is the Pika, by the way. This is what Pikachu is named after. Yep.
Why aren't rabbits and hares under like the rodent category?
Because they're not rodents.
Yeah, but like what differentiates them from rodents?
So they don't have constantly growing teeth.
Oh, I see. Okay.
To my knowledge, they don't. They have rodent-like teeth, so maybe they do. But the big thing is the lagomorphs, they split, they're closely related to rodents, but they have split from that rodent clade. And that you could clump them together if you really wanted to. Cetaceans, whales and dolphins. It's important to note that this is ocean-going mammals that does not include the manatees, which are more closely related to elephants. The sea lion, the manatees, hippos maybe. Anyways, sea lions, which are more closely related to bears, and walruses, also, I want to say walruses are also closely related to bears. This is an example of a return to the sea. So these are organisms who have left the oceans and then returned. And you see this several times. If I write a professional book, this is the book I'm going to write, is going to be called, I came up with the title, it's called Return to the Sea. And it's all about evolutionary adaptations of going from land back to the oceans. Because it's happened many times. Aquatic sea snakes, mammals, several lineages of mammals, reptiles, it happened everywhere. One that sticks out is the narwhal. Guys, the narwhal has this really weird looking thing going on here. What's this long tooth, snaggle tooth coming out? Now why? The big reason why is because it's for sexual selection, as we learned about early on in the course. That tooth is about 10 feet long. The early explorers saw it poking out of the ice and thought to themselves, unicorn. Because, I don't know, they had some issues. It's all right. So they saw the narwhal and thought unicorn. They saw the manatee, the very large, blubbery manatee, and thought mermaid. Horses and rhinos, these are hoofed mammals that have an odd number of toes. The monotremes, these are your duck-billed platypi. Monotremes are, there's only, I think, 3 or 4 major groups of them. They're egg-laying mammals. So these are the only mammals that actually lay eggs. They've got lots of things going on. I want to talk about the platypus itself. It's got a lot of some cool adaptations. One is its large beak in the front that is filled with sensory organs. Basically, it can detect electrical signals given off by its prey. It's usually chasing after soft-bodied organisms on the bottom of a river. So it'll run its bill across the river, feeling for electrical impulses, and then chase it down. It's got this broad, flat tail like a beaver in order to increase the surface area that it's moving in water. Interestingly, it also has these spines right under its hind legs or forelimbs. Anyways, it's got a spine that's poisonous. So they're not super cute. You want to pick them up and play with them. They do secrete a milk-like substance through their skin. Proboscideans, elephants. They have a long prehensile muscular trunk that they use for manipulation. They pick up trees, they pick up things. If the tree they hit you with doesn't kill you, their large protruding tusks will. Here we can see one actually doing some art there. Zoos oftentimes give elephants an easel and a palette in order to paint.
Do you know where that bottom picture is taken from?
Where it's taken from? I don't. I'm sorry.
Is this illicit or is it zoo?
It very well could be.
The Darwin's just switched right before I left. They took their entire zoo, cut it in half, and made it an elephant zoo.
Oh, good. Elephants are actually super interesting creatures. They have a very, very long memory. You know, you hear that about elephants. You know, elephant always remembers. There was a story about a gentleman, a researcher out in the field, and he was studying elephants, and he noticed one elephant wasn't moving much. It would like lift up its foot and put its foot down, but it wouldn't actually move anywhere. So he got closer and closer to it, and he realized that in this, the elephant had a stick sticking out of its nail. Have you guys ever had a splinter under your nail? It was like that, but a stick. So basically, he approached it very cautiously and removed the stick. And the elephant's like, put its weight down, looked at the guy, and then wandered off, because, you know, it's an elephant. Years and years later, that same researcher was in a zoo. And there was signs like, elephant enclosure, keep out. And he looked at this elephant looked at him. And the elephant in the zoo lifted up its foot, put its foot down, lifted up its foot, put its foot down. The guy's like, I know that elephant. So he went over the fence and he went over to the elephant. And he got gored to death and died. The end. No, I'm kidding. I made that whole thing up. Yeah. But it's totally believable. Generally, don't. If you see the signs at a zoo that say don't go near the animals, don't go near the animals. I was out just this past weekend. I was at Busch Gardens. And it was the 1 hour a day where they had the wolves out. I kid you not, one of the stupid people that was there dropped their phone into the enclosure and then started to climb over to go get it. And I was like, there are wolves in there. Like, sure, they might be tame or, but you don't know.
How did they get their phone even into the enclosure? Because
There's a little net, because they were leaning way over to get a good picture, so they didn't actually get a picture of the net with the wolf. Yeah, the net because you're right, there is a net right there. They're like, I got to get past the net, and then they dropped it.
So that's karma.
It's also I'm scared. I've told you several times that I'm scared of water that I can't see my feet in, and I'm scared of water that I can see my feet in. I'm just scared of water in general because there are sea creatures in it. So my wife, when my children were younger, would be like, "Hey, let's go out to the end of the dock and look over the edge," and she would hold the kids up so they could see over the edge. And I'm in the middle of the dock at that point because I don't like the edges, and I'm thinking to myself, if she drops that kid in there, I'm going to have to jump in, and then I'm going to have to fight off a shark, assuming I find the kid. And I couldn't even throw the kid at the shark like I would have done with the alligator, because then I'd get judged. So there we go. Those are the mammals. Any questions?